Welcome to PhD&D on YouTube and another edition of Moving Forth. Talking about 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons, today we will be covering defenses, how they work, how to make them work even better, and how I think they were intentionally meant to be used. Many people overlook that. So, today where I'm getting my resources from, in case you have any more questions, and in case you need to dive into the books and look yourself, is the Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook 1 for 4th edition, Arcane, Divine, and Martial Heroes. This is where it's going to talk about how to build a character. It's going to talk about where or how to build your defenses. So let's talk really quickly about how that actually works mechanically. So you've got 4 defenses. You've got your armor class, your fortitude, your reflex, and your will. Armor class is going to be based on what type of armor you're wearing, obviously, and this dictates, how hard is it to actually land a significant blow with a weapon or a spell that works like a weapon on your character. Now, a couple different things can factor in. The type of armor can set, the bonus for your armor class. If you're wearing a type of light armor or no armor, you can add your intelligence or reflex modifier to that because you're either smart enough or quick enough to be able to deflect or dodge attacks that are coming in from the weapons or spells that act like weapons. Next up comes your fortitude. Now, fortitude is going to be based on your strength or constitution modifier, whichever's higher, and it's going to represent sort of the strength and the, what's the word I'm looking for here? The strength or how tough your character is. The toughness, the sheer mass. This is going to be things like disease, poison, someone trying to actually move your character, physically force them to move. These are things that are going to go against your fortitude. How well can you stand against them? How tough are you? What can your body take from those? Now, obviously, like I said, that's going to be your strength or your constitution. Next up is going to be reflex, which is going to be your dexterity or intelligence modifier, whichever's higher. And since reflex is your ability to either predict attacks and dodge them or deflect attacks, you can actually add a shield bonus if you have a shield to this one. The last one is going to be will. Now, will is charisma or wisdom, whichever's higher, and this is obviously for attacks, things against the mind, someone trying to daze you, to control you even. It's how strong is your will, how strong are you against these mental attacks. So that is the breakdown of the 4 defenses and how they're built. They all have a base 10, which I'll talk about sort of at the end of the video, what we do with that. But you have a base 10 plus these, plus any feats and anything on top of that that you may have that can affect your defenses. Now, defenses in 4th edition are static. You have a number. They roll, see if they hit higher or lower, like normal. But a lot of times these are used incorrectly. Each of them represents a different aspect of your character. That's why they're built differently, and that's why there are 4 of them. So the ways to actually use them is to look at the breakdown of what they are. Now, it depends on your group. If you're a DM who likes to do all the narrating, that's fine. If you're a group where the players can actually jump in and narrate a part, like let's say the DM says, 14 versus your reflex. In your party, if your character has the capability and DM lets them describe the miss or the hit even, that's fine. These tips are going to be for whoever is actually narrating the events. So you need to be aware, whether you're DM or player, of that player character's breakdown. Do they have light armor? Are they smart enough to be using intelligence to add to their armor class? Are they quick enough to be using their dexterity? Which one are they using? Also, what type of armor are they using? These are things you should know if you plan on actually narrating hits and misses in the game. And again, like I said, whether you're the player or the DM. Jumping on to fortitude, which one are they using? Are they using the strength? Are they using the constitution? Helps you be better to be able to describe these hits or misses. Jumping down to reflex, a smarter individual that's going to be using intelligence, they're probably going to be predicting these things and be getting out of the way with plenty of time, or being able to read the enemy, especially on misses. Now, on a hit, obviously they read it wrong, something like that. But you can use that for the narration. Now, if they're using their dexterity, they're probably just quick enough to be able to deflect attacks, or at just the last second get out of the way. So again, as a player, DM, know which one they're using so you can describe the events that happen. Don't leave it as a static number where if you hit, here's your damage. Don't act like it's armor class either, because it's not. Reflex, a lot of spells like Fireball are against reflex to see if you can get out of the way in time. Fireball, especially against armor class, armor's not going to protect against certain attacks. You need to get out of the way. That's why there's reflex. So, jumping down to will, this one you can do a lot with. Is it charisma? Is it the wisdom they're using? And the ways to actually use that, especially from like player standpoint, you can describe, you can tell someone is trying to take over the mind of your character. You can feel them reaching in. You can see the vision in your mind. But let's say the DM misses. He says 15 versus will, and your will is higher than that. You can describe in such a way, you don't just say miss, it didn't work. That's no fun. You can describe how you hold on to one thought. You can tell someone is trying to invade your mind, and so you immediately go to that place where you hold on to the one thing that your character can focus on, or the one person they care about the most. And through that, you just block out everything else. The attack misses. Obviously, they're not strong enough to break that thought in your head. That's how will works. That's how will works as a defense. That's how it's different than armor class. So, going back through those, use them for what they are. They're not all armor class. They're not all just static numbers to either hit or miss. They all represent a different defense for the player. So as a DM or as the player, use those differences in your narration. Now, one final little tip and rule that my personal home group uses, we have switched over to this after we played D&D Next for a while. We didn't want the static defenses. We preferred sort of a save defense, where we had a chance each time to roll for them. Now, armor class, you leave that static. We leave that, we don't touch it. That can get very, very messy if you start to mess with that. But fortitude, reflex, and will, we took out that base 10 that you get at the very beginning. You get, like I said, you get 10 plus your bonuses. We took out the 10 and we just inserted a d20 roll. So let's say if you add up the normal rules and you have a fortitude of a 15, take out that base 10, that would just be a +5 to your save. Or if you have a will of a 13, take out your base 10, that is a +3 to your will save. So if somebody tries to dominate your character, they roll and they say 14 versus your will, what we would do instead of just saying, well, that hits, we have a 13. No, we roll and we would add our 3. If it's higher, it's higher. That way, chance is added in and we can do different things and feels more as a player like you have a chance each time to sort of defend yourself against those. So that is our sort of little homebrew rule to make saves like previous versions have done, and that is how you should use defenses in 4th edition to make them more interesting and to add to your narrative. It's just a way that a lot of people don't look at them as. A lot of people treat them all as armor class and everything as a hit or a miss. So I want to thank you for watching Moving Forth, the Defenses Edition, and if you want to see anything else, please contact me. Otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.